PK in the universe. Oh man, I want to talk about this whole Pikmin 3 situation. Here's my copy of Pikmin 3. I have it on the Wii U. It's sealed. I've never actually opened it. I got it from Super Nintendo. I got a really good deal a while back. So, as a lot of you guys know, Pikmin 3 is coming out for the Nintendo Switch. And it's a deluxe version. There's some added new missions, and they've HD'd it or whatever. I don't know what you'd call it. And I wanted to talk about the situation of basically kind of how absurd I think the situation is, but also the situation of the fact that it was delisted from the Wii U eShop. As many of you guys know, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which was $20 on the Wii U eShop, was delisted a while back. And I remember Nintendo saying, oh, this was actually a mistake. This was some kind of error when we were putting it on the Switch eShop or something. I don't know. They had some weird excuse. And they were like, but they never fixed it. They never fixed the glitch. They like apologized for it, but then just never dealt with it. And now all of a sudden, Pikmin 3 has been delisted from the eShop. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with all and any ports, but I'm also not a any port in the storm kind of guy. I like the Nintendo Switch. It is the ultimate portable system. But I genuinely do like the Switch, and I love the Wii U. The Wii U is one of my favorite video game consoles ever. But man, this is just so shady what Nintendo is doing. My issue is not that Pikmin 3 is coming to the Switch. My issue is that Pikmin Trilogy is not coming to Switch. I think there's something wrong here. And this is so strange that so many Nintendo fans are not holding Nintendo accountable for this. Or I hope people vote with their wallets, because there was a time when people would vote with their wallets. And I want to tell you guys about a really great example of that. This, guys, is Mass Effect 3 on the Wii U. Are you guys familiar with this at all? Yes, Mass Effect 3 came out on the Wii U. But most people didn't buy it. You know why? Because it was $60. You know what they mostly bought? Probably most people, they probably bought this on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. They bought the Mass Effect Trilogy. Yes, a last-gen system. People were buying this for this last-gen system. If they didn't already have the Mass Effect Trilogy, guess what? They would rather spend $60 on this than spend $60 on this. So it's really strange to me that people are holding Nintendo to such a low standard. And you know what really drives me nuts about this whole situation is if Nintendo had released the Pikmin Trilogy on the Switch instead of Pikmin 3 Deluxe, they wouldn't have needed to delist it off the eShop, because guess what? Here's something a lot of people don't talk about either, is Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2, the Wii versions, are available on the Wii U, digitally downloaded. And guess how much they are? $20. So you could get Pikmin 1, Pikmin 2, you used to be able to get Pikmin 3, yes, for $60. So even if somebody were to decide to buy Pikmin 3 on the Wii U, guess what? It wouldn't even really matter, because guess what? They're selling the trilogy for $60. So either way, Nintendo makes money. People who would buy Pikmin 3 for $20 digitally on the Wii U are not the people who are going to buy it on the Switch for $60. That's just a fact. And it's such an absurd thing to buy the third game and not be of a series on a new system and not be able to really in any way buy the other games. I mean, think about like Uncharted games. There's the Nathan Drake trilogy, but there's also Uncharted 4. That's because who would want to buy the fourth game? A lot of times most people don't want to buy the fourth game in a series. Like you had Metal Gear Solid 4 on PS3. And of course you had a lot of people had played it on PS2 and stuff, but eventually the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection came out, or the ports of the PS2 versions, and then and you always could play the PS1 version because it was backwards compatible, or buy it digitally. So there's always ways to play the original games typically of on the same system. It just seems really absurd to me that they would release the third game in a series. I mean, again, and you know what the sad part is? When Mass Effect 3 came out, people voted with their wallets. They didn't just go buy and be like, oh, I'm going to get this version. No. And then eventually this game became absolutely dirt cheap, which is why I bought it. Because guess what? I was one of those people who voted their wallets and got this. I got this one. It was brand new. It came with all the DLC, and it was on PS3 because I never owned an Xbox 360 at the time. In fact, I didn't get one until like 2017. So my thoughts are, I think the Pikmin 3 being delisted from the Wii U eShop is stupid because Nintendo is basically screwing themselves out of money. Because, you know, that's the thing, is people might have bought it out of protest, honestly. And there are people who are going to buy Pikmin 3 on Wii U out of protest. They're probably people who own a Switch or own a Wii U and are like, well, you know what? I'm not going to pay $60, so I'm going to go buy it used. And that's what people are going to do. They're going to go buy it used. And still, even at the time of this recording, that game is still going for not that expensive. It might shoot up later this week. I don't know. But at the time of this recording, it's going for pretty cheap. So if you have a Wii U, maybe that's in your best interest. Anyways, what are your guys' thoughts? Would you have preferred the Pikmin Trilogy over Pikmin 3 Deluxe? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay awesome in this universe. Later.